everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I am bringing you another series first impressions video. This one is going to be on the two most recent Book One Cozies Club picks for the month of May and June. Normally I separate the videos for the Book One Cozies Club picks into their own individual videos, but I didn't think that the videos would have had as much substance on these two particular stories, so I decided to combine them into one video this time. Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you prefer to have separate videos or if combining them every once in a while is okay with you. I do have navigational links down in the description box below to each title in case you're only interested in hearing about one of these and not the other. So let's get into it. I'll start off with the selection for May, which was Murder Can Mess Up Your Masterpiece by Rose Pressey. This is the first book in the Haunted Craft Fair Mystery series by her. I have read another series by her, which was the Haunted Home Renovation series. I read the first installment of that a few years ago and enjoyed it. I had seen that she had a second installment in this series coming out this year, and this was a contender when we had our last meeting for Book One Cozies Club in store. If you hadn't seen my changes video on this, Book One Cozies Club was quarterly for a while, and I had gotten the chance to bring it into real life. We had had our first meeting before things shut down for COVID-19, so we had a couple selections to vote on for the next month's pick, and then we haven't been able to meet since. So instead of going and choosing a selection out of the jar like I would normally do prior to bringing Book One Cozies Club into the real life, I decided to go ahead and just go with one of the selections that we were talking about before things shut down. This particular series follows Celeste, who has started to sell her paintings at a local craft fair. It's an outdoor craft fair, and things aren't going as planned. On the very first day, one of her customers returns a painting that she sold earlier, claiming that it's haunted. This is not the only thing that happens that day. One of the other craft fair participants has had their funds stolen from their vehicle, and so it's just not been the day that she had hoped that it would be. That evening, Celeste has a bit of trouble sleeping with everything that has happened that day, so she decides to take her dog out for a walk and stumbles upon the dead body of the craft fair manager. As the days go by, more and more of the craft fair participants start having their money stolen from them, and things are getting very uncomfortable between the craft fair participants and Celeste. With the help of a ghost that has manifested herself out of one of Celeste's paintings, Celeste goes on a quest to find out who may have killed the craft fair manager and who may be stealing the craft fair participants' funds. I did really enjoy this one. It definitely kept my interest. The workings of the craft fair was interesting because it was an outdoor craft fair, but it was like, I think it was like a weekend, or it was over the course of a week. I'm not sure how many days had gone by during the course of the story. But Celeste brings her RV in which she camps out in at the craft fair site, and other craft fair participants also do the same. So I thought that was interesting. When I was younger, my mom did participate in craft fairs, and so I do remember getting up very early to go to these venues, but they were always indoor craft fairs, never ones that were outdoors, and we never had to camp out. It was only like a one day or one weekend type of thing, and so we never really had to stay at the venue overnight or anything like that. So this particular craft fair and the way it worked was very interesting to me. Celeste's investigative style was a little irritating at times, I would say, to me. But all in all, it didn't turn me off of wanting to read more of the story or finding out how the story progressed and what her investigation brought. She does do a few things that I found questionable, but like I said, it wasn't enough for me to stop being interested in the story. The author does a very good job of dropping some breadcrumbs within this installment for possible things that are going to be explained or revealed in the next installment. So I'm really looking forward to getting to that next book. I did borrow this one from Hoopla, so if you do have access to that service from your library, definitely check this one out. It also includes quite a bit of story about the craft fair participants' pets. One of the people that she becomes acquainted with does also have a dog, and so if you are a dog lover, this might be one for you. And yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed this one. It kept my interest, and I'm definitely going to be continuing to the next book in this series. So June's selection for Book One Cozies Club was Cappuccinos, Cupcakes, and a Corpse by Harper Lin. This is the first book in the Cape Bay Cafe Mystery Series. In this installment, we follow our main character, Francesca, who has come home to her hometown after the death of her mother. In coming home, she has given up her day job and has taken over her family's cafe, selling coffees, cappuccinos, pastries, sandwiches, and things of that nature. One day on her walk home from the cafe, she sees her down the street neighbor sitting on his porch taking a nap, but when she gets closer, it turns out he is not taking a nap. He's actually dead. This neighbor happens to be the father of an old classmate. Being that her mom had just passed recently, she tries to be there for the classmate, knowing a little bit of how he feels and what he may be going through. So she and her classmate Matt decide together to try to figure out who may have had it out for his father. This book has been on my to-read list for a while. It did come out of the Book One Cozies Club jar, and I was very excited when it did. It is a free download on Kindle and Nook, so if you're interested, definitely check this one out. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I don't get much reading time nowadays. You'd think with the way things are and everything being shut down that I would have more time to read, but that just hasn't been the case for me. And so the time that I do get to read now is very precious. Every time I pick this one up, the chapters just seem to fly. I really enjoyed the banter between Francesca and Matt. We do get to see a lot of Francesca being in the coffee shop doing like coffee art. I thought that was really interesting, and she tailors the art to the customer in some way, shape, or form. So I thought that was fascinating. She even, just for herself, when she's pouring herself a cup of coffee, she goes ahead and makes some coffee art for herself. Of course, there's talk about the scrumptious delights that they have at their cafe as well. At the back of this installment, there are 2 recipes for 2 of the different cupcakes that they mention. I will definitely be trying one of those out for sure. The mystery itself, like I said, moved along really quickly. Again, there were a few things about Francesca's investigative style that bothered me, but as with most cozies, our main character does go to the police with some evidence that they have found. Not necessarily saying that they're not doing their job, but just trying to help out. And in this instance, Francesca really got scolded by the police officer. He got really mad with her, and I found that refreshing. Normally in stories like this, our amateur sleuth just gets like a slap on the wrist, or just gets told, hey, just let us do our work, let us do our job, leave it to the authorities type of thing, and is pretty much done with it. But in this case, she really got scolded, and it made her step back a little bit. I thought that was definitely more of a realistic reaction to the situation. She actually caused a little bit of trouble with what she did and got scolded for it, and I found that refreshing. Towards the end, where she finally figures out who it is, she also calls the police before she goes and confronts said person. And I also found that refreshing. Most of the time, our amateur sleuth gets into trouble and somebody else comes to their rescue, or somebody else figures out that they're in trouble and sends authorities. And so I really enjoyed these aspects in this story. I also enjoyed that there was no love triangle in this one. If you followed me for a while, you know love triangles bother me. And I wouldn't say all love triangles bother me, but particularly the ones where we have two guys who are interested in the same girl, and the girl cannot figure out which one she likes better and just kind of dates both of them at the same time. Those are the ones that really bother me. But this one so far, no sign of a love triangle, which was a big plus. It was rather short. It was under 300 pages, and like I said, the chapters just kept flying. I felt like I got through so much of the story while I was reading in the very minimal amount of reading time that I had. And I really enjoyed this one. So another series that I will definitely be checking out the next installment of. And yeah, so those are my first impressions of both the Haunted Craft Fair Mystery Series by Rose Pressey and the Cape Bay Cafe Mystery Series by Harper Lin. Let me know if you've read these installments or if you've read any other series by these authors. Both of these authors write several other series, so if you're not particularly interested in these two series, definitely look through their catalog of series, because you probably will find something else that will tickle your fancy. Also, a reminder to let me know down in the comments below if you preferred this combined first impressions video, or if you would prefer that I separate them out in the future. That is all I've got for you today. I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.